If you're on the hunt for a free drum VST that sounds something like this, then this is the video for you. I'm going to show you where to download it, how to install it, and what DAW to use with it as well. That's coming up. What's up? Justin Greenwald here. Welcome to 65 Drums. This is the place to keep on top of all things electronic drum related, so thanks for stopping by. Today I'm doing the best VST and DAW combo with your electronic drums. No one's made a video on this yet, so hopefully you'll find this useful. Links to every program I'm talking about are going to be down in the description below. There's nothing I'm going to mention that costs money, so everything down there is absolutely free. I'm going to just say everything is plain and simple as I possibly can, because this gets really confusing really quick if you don't know the meanings to different words I'm about to talk about. So a VST, a drum plugin, is basically a program on your computer that has recordings of a guy in a studio somewhere hitting a drum set. So recordings of snares from low volume to high volume, cymbals and all that stuff. It's basically a drum module, except on your laptop instead of in a special box. Now, you'll need something to host that computer program. So think of a drum plugin, a drum VST, as a DVD. You need a DVD player to actually use that DVD. There are exceptions to this, like Easy Drummer 2 or Superior Drummer, where they have like standalone versions where you don't need a DAW. But with a lot of other drum plugins that you'll find free on the internet, you do need something to host them, so you'll need to download a DAW. Now, I downloaded a bunch of them, but I found Traction was the only one that really worked for me. So don't go download like Audacity, because yes, you can install third-party VSTs onto that program, but mostly it's designed for stuff like third-party equalizers or reverb. Like downloading a full drum set plugin isn't gonna work. I've already tried it. Also, don't go download Studio One 3. It's a cool program, I guess, but unfortunately they disable the feature allowing you to import third-party plugins. So you can't download a free drum VST onto that program either. And I didn't really get our DAW working either. So as you can see, I've had a lot of frustration trying to get different programs to work with this. This whole video has taken several days for me to do the research and get everything working. So hopefully you find this useful. Okay, so if you've followed link number 1, you've already downloaded the program Traction. When you go on their website to download it, you got to create a profile with your email and a password. Remember that password, don't forget about it, because you'll actually need it when you open up the program. So when you install and open up the program Traction, what you'll need to do is actually unlock the program, because as of like right when you download it, it's going to make a hissing sound every 30 seconds or so, and you need to unlock the full program by putting in your password and your email address. At first, I thought it was this BS move by Traction to make you spend money on a fuller version of the product, because that's what a lot of people do. But thankfully, and it's actually kind of generous for them just to give you a full recording program absolutely free. So that's great. The next thing you'll want to do is go to powerdrumkit.com and download that free drum VST. It's absolutely free. The only thing they do to try to get you to spend money is when you put in the program into your laptop, it'll have a pop-up screen every first time you use it saying, hey, do you want to donate some money for this free plugin? Other than that, it's completely free. They don't force you to spend any money at all. Now that you've got both programs installed, you'll want to get them working together. So open up your program Traction, make sure it's closed out, and then reopen it, because you want the program to search for the brand new plugin that you just downloaded. So go to Settings, and then Plugins right there. It'll pop up a list of all the plugins you have on your laptop. If the list is completely empty, you might want to try exiting out of the program and then opening it one more time and going back to plugins. Every time it opens, it searches for plugins. If that still doesn't work, that means it just can't find yours. So you'll want to go to the folder MT Power Drum, because you downloaded this folder, and then unzip it if it's not already unzipped. So extract the files, and then go highlight these two files right here, mtpowerdrumkit.ddl or DLL and mtpowerdrumkit content PDK. So you'll want to highlight both of those and drag them over into the plugins folder right here. So into the program itself. You don't actually have to go find the Traction folder inside of your computer at all. So it's really quick, easy drag and drop solution right there. Next thing you want to do is connect your electronic drums to your laptop. If you've got an older drum module, you'll have to go from MIDI to a MIDI interface and then to your laptop via USB. But any modern drum module now has USB MIDI. So just connect a USB MIDI cable. It looks like like a regular printer cable actually. So go from your laptop to your drum module and turn it on. So now that you've done that, go over here to MIDI devices. And you might have to rescan by pressing this refresh MIDI device list if it isn't popping up. For me, Roland TD30 pops up right away, and automatically it's all disabled. It has this red X on it. So click on it and make sure it's enabled. Now that that's enabled, you'll probably see a little keyboard pop up on the bottom. And what you want to do is try hit a couple of your drums and make sure that they're being highlighted on the keyboard so that the program is getting the MIDI information from your drum set. MIDI information, if you didn't know, it's basically a description of how hard you're hitting a certain drum. It's not actually any sort of audio. It's just information on what your drum you're hitting and how hard you're hitting it. Keyboards also use MIDI as well. So now that you've gotten it to recognize that your drum set's plugged in, now you'll want to go to audio devices. For me, I'm using a driver called ASIO for All. This is also free. I'll leave the link down in the description below. It'll be download number 3 or number 4. It'll all be labeled on 1, 2, 3 what you need to download. But basically it helps me lower the latency. Now you can also use like Windows Audio as the device type right here. You don't have to go download ASIO for All if you don't want to. But the main thing you got to remember is go over here to audio buffer size. No matter what you're using, go to audio buffer size and choose the lowest number of samples you can. Another thing you'll want to do is go over here to the lower right hand side and click use real-time priority mode. This will also help you lower the latency. And go over here to max monitoring latency and just lower that down to 0 milliseconds. Okay, so now you've got all that working, you'll want to go and start a new song. So my new song is called Start Edit 1 for some reason. Go over here to track, and you'll want to right click on that and select your drum module. It should pop up if you've got the MIDI all working over here in the settings menu. So right click on that and select your drum module. Mine pops up and it says Roland TD30. Next thing you'll want to do is hover over this plus sign way over here on the right hand side and drag that down onto one of your tracks. Now this little box will pop up and you'll want to select the plugin you're going to use. So you'll want to select Empty Power Drum Kit, and then this little box will show up right here. So now you can actually start playing right away. Next thing you'll want to do is EQ it a little bit. You can't EQ it inside of the plugin at all because the plugin's way too limited. What you got to do is go back to the main editing screen right here, and you'll want to drag this plus button to the right of your drum plugin over here on the list, and you'll want to select Trackton plugins, and you'll want to select 4-band equalizer. And now you can adjust the bass, you can adjust the treble, you basically have 4 zones of EQ over the sound. And I really crank the lows and a little bit of the highs just to give it some bite and really have some presence on the low end, because the sound's just a little bit too flat as it is right now. The next thing I did was I added some reverb just to give the drum set some presence, to make it sound like it's in an actual room. After you've put on the reverb plugin, I would put on a compression plugin to also fine-tune the sound even more. So this is the end result, and it sounds pretty darn good for a free plugin. Okay, so that's what it sounds like. I want to mention a couple of other things though. The first thing is that this is a free plugin, so you're not going to have a ton of controls over your trigger settings. With something like Superior Drummer, you can really dial in the hi-hat trigger response. With this thing, unfortunately, all you can hear is when you hit right here. You can't actually hear any sound when you hit the edge for some reason. So you'll hear a sound, a closed sound, or an open sound when you have your foot released. So there's like no variation in between, at least for me. Maybe if you play around with the settings, maybe you can figure it out. That's all I was getting. Another thing to remember is that since you're not going to have individual control over all of these individual drums right here, you're basically going to have to put a global EQ on it, global compression, and you're not going to actually be able to turn up the individual elements, like turn up the kick drum. Like I think it's a little bit quiet, but that's just me. So yeah, this is a free plugin, and if you don't like the sound, at least you have a free DAW. You can go download more free plugins off the internet and play around with those sounds. I just thought this video would be helpful. There's nothing really like this on the internet, so trying to fill a void. If you've got any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I probably won't be able to answer the super in-depth stuff because I may never use this again, because honestly, it's a free plugin. Don't expect miracles. But if you're looking for something free that just sounds a little bit better than your cheap drum module, then this might help fill a void for you. Anyway, hope you guys have an awesome day. I'll see you in a few.